Hey everyone, and welcome to Sylvan Mist Designs. So, I don't know if any of you had caught my little bug painting live episodes, but to this point, here are another batch of bugs that I've done. So these 6 here were in a set that I did live. All of these little daisies were another set, and then the mushrooms and our little calico kitties was another. If you've watched those and you just want to hang out and watch me varnish these, here we go. Now, for the varnish on these ones, I'm actually using just the DecoArt Duraclear Gloss. I will actually give all of my bugs 2 coats with this. Now, I'm sure there's lots of different ways to do this, but this is the easiest way for me personally. I just fill up an entire well with the Duraclear. I've got a nice kind of thick brush here, and then I just go at it like this. Now, you possibly, I suppose, because they're so small, I suppose you could just dunk them. I don't necessarily feel all that comfortable doing it like that. I just want to make 100% sure that the layers are going to be even. Because I'm doing such a thin coat of varnish on these little bugs, they dry really, really fast. Now, these bugs I may go back in before I finish them. And as you can see, these again are just little offcasts and they have some rough edges on them. And I've sanded this down so that the edge is actually kind of smooth to the touch. But by rough, I mean, obviously it's not the smooth texture of the top. And they've got a little bit of a kind of a lip there. So I'm going to skip these particular bugs just for now. right, so I mentioned I needed to touch some of these guys up, so I'm going to do that now. This is just cherry red. This one actually got a little bit of a black mark on it. When I was painting, I think I had touched some black paint and had that black paint on my fingers when I was finishing these up. So I got this black smudge there. So this is a good opportunity to come back and try to kind of erase that by painting over it. Now, it might not take with this first coat of paint because it is black, but we'll try. This one we got pretty good. There's a few little pores that I'll touch up right there. I'd use the true green on this part. So we've got a little green here. Let's make sure a little grass behind them is okay. Now those should be completely ready to go. In the meantime though, I'm gonna let them dry and let's get back to a second coat on these little guys. You can already see how shiny they are, what a difference that makes. But let's take a look at what a second layer does. the second layer on these, let me try that again. Unlike the first, it doesn't soak in as much, and I tend to see a lot more of the cloudy white streaks. As when you first put it on and it's a little thick in any place, you're going to see that kind of cloudy. And I get that a lot more on the second layer just because it doesn't need as much and it's not soaking in. On this layer as well, I'm going to be a little more careful about my brush strokes all going in the same direction, in case when it does dry, I do get some brush stroke marks on there. At least they're all in the same direction. I knew that there was a reason why I usually don't use paper towel when I am doing this kind of stuff. Believe it or not, I actually do have just next to me, matter of fact, I do actually have a bit of wax paper. All right, I've taken these guys off because, of course, I realized there is a reason why I usually don't do this stuff on paper towel. I actually had it just on a paper towel. So if you notice, I went ahead and took the paper towel out from under these little guys, and that's because I realized that, yeah, there's a reason I typically don't use paper towel underneath them, and that's because, yeah, if I accidentally get a drop of this somewhere, then these bugs are going to stick, and then I'm going to have issues, and that's exactly what happened. So I took that away. And as you can see, like, for example, my little bug's got some tissue paper on it. Now, it's not hard to rectify that. I'm just going to dip my finger in some of the water that I have over here for my paintbrush, and then just get that off. Not necessarily a big deal, but really annoying, and if you're not careful, you could still get paint off of these. So, like I said, I do have a bit of wax paper that I normally use. It's actually sitting just off to my left, but now that I've got the bugs all over my Lazy Susan, I'm just gonna leave that. But heads up, yeah, I would not use paper at all when you start varnishing these or finishing these. There. Now, it may not look like a big difference between the first and the second coat, but where it actually does matter is the feel of it. The first coat, when you get the first coat on, I mean, the paint itself is matte, and so it's just slightly rough. When you get the first coat on these guys, it is smoother. I mean, it is noticeably smoother, but you still do get a little bit of texture, especially with these little cement bugs. So, but the second coat of this is just magnificent. That is where it shines. That's where, that's why people love resin, for example. One of the reasons I love it too is just because of how smooth it feels. It's just so glossy and so nice. And even though 2 or 3 coats of this, I'll be honest, no, it's not anywhere near resin. It certainly does give a very nice finish, and to have it smooth instead of rough at all is fantastic. Let's get our little mushroom bugs. Once I get the mushroom bugs painted and I get a second coat on them, then we will be doing the bottoms. But the bottoms, I actually only give 1 coat. I was thinking about that, and I didn't actually want to give the bottoms a coat at all. I'm like, well, nobody's going to be seeing the bottom, but it isn't about what you're going to see necessarily. It's about protecting the paint that's on the bottom. You don't want to have something, let me pick up one of these guys that are dry. You don't want to have one of these guys, and see, I got even some paint on the bottom. But you don't want any of these little guys sitting on somebody's table and maybe something gets scratched, and then you have kind of an yucky little scratch mark on this for somebody. So I'll just come in with a super light layer like that. I really hardly have anything on my brush, and then I'll let that dry. This little lady was one that got caught on the paper towel. And as you can see, it kind of ripped off a little bit of the black there. Let's see if I can get a little color back on her here. will say, as far as colors go, this one here, this is the this bug was done with the deep burgundy instead of the cherry red. And this gloss varnish, oh, it just makes that color pop. I love that one so much. Now this little girl I gotta hang on to for a moment, because as I was flipping it over, I actually got some of the varnish on the top of it, as you'd seen there, and so I had to kind of brush that. So she's gonna hang out with me for a second. I can't put her down yet. Now, when I say dry, I do mean just dry to the touch. It's not completely dry. It's not like at this point, for example, I would stack these or go ahead and put them away into whatever storage container I was going to use. I definitely don't want to be doing that right now. But I can touch these. They're going to be dry to the touch, so I can go ahead and move on with the next steps. Okay, so these ladies are getting their second coat. Probably by the time I finish the 4th bug's second coat, this first one that I'm doing will be ready for its underside to be painted. Take a look at, see, this is the first one. So isn't that pretty? Really glossy and really, really nice. I'm also going to be adding to the pile a couple of other bugs. I have already painted, and actually I'm going to put them sort of up here. These are some bugs that I've already painted the tops of, and I let them dry. And I just unfortunately hadn't gotten around to, because I got interrupted while I was sealing them. I hadn't gotten around to doing their bottoms, so I'm going to quickly go ahead and do these guys while I'm at it. These are dried at the touch, so let's do their bottoms. So now we've got beautiful, shiny, double-sided bugs all ready to go. All right, well, thanks for watching. I certainly hope this was helpful. I don't know if I necessarily taught you anything particularly new, but I had somebody ask how I sealed my bugs and sort of what my process was. So I thought I'd take you guys along while I just did some of the stuff that I usually do off camera. So if you like this, if you want me to show you more of just the sealing and kind of cleanup side of things, I certainly will. Most of the time I'm just, like I said, sitting around doing this stuff off camera. Sometimes I'm doing it idly, maybe while watching a movie with a family or something. That's a little different. But yeah, if you guys enjoy this, I will happily go ahead and record it and get that shared too as well. Please stop, take a moment, and let me know in the comments if that's the case. Otherwise, I won't know, and I can't get you the content that you're looking for. Okay? If you guys have made it this far and you do enjoy this, you do want to see how the actual casting is done, how the painting is, or anything else on the channel, make sure you subscribe so you can see it all, and catch me next time. All right. And thank you so much for watching. I certainly do appreciate it. You guys take care and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.